Good morning, Year 1. Welcome to Tuesday's English. So well done for all the amazing questions you planned yesterday for our non-chronological report about Grace Darling. So today we're going to use the questions that we wrote yesterday and start our report. So before we do that, we need to think about what we need at the start. So I've got this example of the report about sharks again. And can you remember yesterday we talked about a feature that's at the start? Can you remember what that's called? Into the T. That's our title. Well done. So we need to include a title in our report about Grace Darling. And I think the title should be Grace Darling. Okay, it's all about her, isn't it? So we need to make sure that when we start writing, we have a title. Now, on Class Dojo, there is a template that you could use if you would like to, but it's completely up to you. If you've got a printer, if not, and if you have got a printer, if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. So you can decide how you like to present your information in your English book. There needs to be a space for your title at the top. Then you're going to have your writing. And then remember, we talked about how there's pictures as well. So you might like to present it differently. You might have the picture somewhere else. Okay, it's completely up to you. But just a template if you would like to use it. Okay. So yesterday you planned your questions and I showed you one of mine and I also planned another two. I didn't show them to you yesterday, but here they are. Okay, so these are the questions that I have come up with. So first of all, who was Grace Darling? Second question, when and where was Grace Darling born? And third question, why is Grace Darling remembered? Okay, so they're the questions I've come up with. You might have come up with some similar, you might have some different. Okay, so your choice is, I'm going to model answering these questions. So you could choose to do the same ones as me if you would like to, or if you've got different questions that you really want to include, you might have to do some of your research at home and find out the answers, and that's absolutely fine. You can include your own questions, okay? So it's your choice. I'm going to answer these ones and I'm going to show you me doing that. So you might like to do the same as me, but you can also do your own questions if you're happy to do your own research or if you know the answers already, okay? So it's your choice. So those are my three and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm really happy for you to do the same. So today we're going to start off the report. We're going to finish it tomorrow. We're just going to start it today. And we need that title that I just talked about. So the first job that you're going to need to do is in the template that I've given you or in your book or however you're doing it, you need to include your title at the top. You can do it however you like. You could do it in colour, you could do it big, you can do it small. It's up to you. It's your report, okay? So I'm going to do it in this blue colour. Do it a little bit bigger. Don't forget that it's her name, so both words need to have capital letters. Okay, so Grace Darling. So that's going to be at the top of my report. So that's the box on the template or the top of your page. Okay, now I want to answer the first question. So I've already written my questions, but obviously you'll need to write your first one. Okay, so if you're using this template, you could write the first question on this top line and then maybe leave a line to start your answer. Okay, it's completely up to you. But remember, you do one question at a time, otherwise you won't know if you've got enough space. So I've only done them both, not the right page. I've only done them both to make sure that I answer them both. But you need to do one and then the answer, okay? Just like we did with our fact files, we did that. We've done this before, we know what to do, okay? So I had a little think about how I was going to answer who was Grace Darling. And the sentence that I've chosen to write is, well, in fact, two sentences. Grace Darling was the daughter of a lighthouse keeper. She lived with her family in a lighthouse. Okay, so now there's some quite tricky words in this because it's factual. It's a little bit more tricky. So you might like to borrow some of the words that I use in my sentence, or you might like to ask a grown-up to help you. Okay, but you need to try and create the sentence yourself. So I'm going to write mine now. So remember, it's going to go underneath the question. You're not going to start writing next to the question. You're going to go on a new line if you've not reached the end of the line. You start off, Grace Darling. I want to answer in a full sentence. I don't want to just say she was. I want to start off in a full sentence and answering a question in a full sentence like we do with our comprehension. So Grace Darling was the, nice tricky word there, daughter, really tricky word. So you might want to copy mine or ask somebody to help you. The daughter of a lighthouse. Okay, so you can definitely spell light. Light. And then house has got that ow sound, O-U, but it's a little bit different at the end. So ouse, but it's also got an E on the end. Okay. Grace Darling is the daughter of a lighthouse keeper. We can definitely sound out keeper. It's a kicking a K to start. We don't have a K very often, do we? It is here. So K, E, P, keeper. Grace Darling was the daughter of a lighthouse keeper. I'm going to put a full stop there. And that could be all you write, but I'm going to add a little bit more and say that she lived in a lighthouse. Okay, so my next sentence is starting with a capital letter. Tricky word she, I know you can spell that one, she. Now that I've already started writing in a full sentence, I don't need to say Grace Darling again because I've already said it once. So now I can use she. And she lived. Now live is, I was going to say it's an I split digraph, but it's not an I split digraph. So it's a bit of a trick. Look, and then it's got an L on the end, which makes it look like a split digraph. It's actually not. So she lived with her family. You can definitely sound out family because the E sound is a Y on the end of family. So E. So she lived with her family in a lighthouse. We've already used the word lighthouse. So out with an E on the end. She lived with her family in a lighthouse. Okay. So now I've got who was Grace Darling? Grace Darling was the daughter of a lighthouse keeper. She lived with her family in a lighthouse. Amazing. Okay. So I will have written, if I'm not using this template, I'll have written that on the first couple of lines. Then I might like to leave a line ready for my next question. So my next question is, when and where was Grace Darling born? So I had to do a little bit of research to make sure I got the right date. And the sentence that I've got to answer this one is Grace Darling. I'm starting off with her name again. I'm not saying she. Grace Darling was born on the 24th of November, 1815 on the Farne Islands. Okay, so I'm going to try and write that one down now. So again, I'm using the big capital letter for Grace and for Darling. Grace Darling was, tricky word was, born on 24, what two numbers do I need for 24? 2 10s and 4 1s. Okay, 24th November. So November is a month, therefore it needs a capital letter. So November, 1815, that was the year. So we're in 2021 now. She was born in 1815 on the Farne. So it's the place, the Farne Islands are a place, and a capital F-R-N. It's also got an E on the end. Farne Islands, and islands is a funny word. So you might want some help with that one. Okay. So Grace Darling was born on the 24th of November, 1815 on the Farne Islands. So there is my 2 questions answered. So I've got my title, I've got my first question, I've got my first answer, and I've got my second question and my second answer. Okay, so then tomorrow we're going to do one more question and do the pictures for your report. Okay. So as I said, you can choose your own questions if you'd like, or you can use the same ones as me, and you can use the same answers as me, but try not to just look at them, try and remember what I've said. So you can read them a few times like we do, you know, and we orally rehearse things and then we write them down. Okay, so try to take them away if you're going to use the same answers as me, but it's fine to do that. Okay, and I really look forward to seeing the start of your report, and then tomorrow, as I say, we will finish off your report. Okay, so great job for English Today Year 1, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.